Today we are going to do the Condition 3 menu from the book, The Egoscue Method of Health Through Motion by Pete Egoscue. This book was published in 1993, so it seems old, but it still is so relevant and can be so helpful to improving the alignment of your body. Now, he did have in the book Condition 1, Condition 2, and Condition 3. We're going to go over what Condition 3 is, and basically it is when your pelvis is more tucked under, your butt is more flat, you kind of have a stooped posture, your hands may be pointing forward. Now, when looking at this, it's a collection of different postural deviations. You may not have all of them, but typically it's identified by the tucking under of the pelvis. So that's the main thing. And then here again, we might be more rounded and drooping. So when we look at these different these conditions, condition 1 is more tilted forward, and in his book he talks about the fact that that was really a strong and tight position because people were doing a lot of more physical labor. And condition 3 was more as you were older and more sedentary or more sitting. But in today's world, so many people are sitting a lot. So there's a lot more people showing up with a condition 3 than a condition 1. However, again, there are some variations that keep forming as we go, but these are a great starting point, these 3 menu options for trying to balance out your postures. So when doing these exercises from this menu, I want you to make sure that you're not doing any of these exercises working through pain. That is so important. You really have to listen to your body, modify or skip an exercise if it does not work. That's not how this program is designed. You need to listen to your body. If you have not exercised, you want to have doctor's clearance before you go ahead and begin this program. But once you're ready, step in, follow the directions as we go, and be mindful and just no pain with any exercise. Let's get started. So the first exercise in Condition 3 menu is standing arm circles. So how we start this exercise is we take our feet and we go parallel and hip width. Now hip width on these exercises is center of the hip down, not the outside of your hips. And then when you go parallel, you want the outsides of your feet parallel. So you want to make sure there's no turning out. It's okay to feel pigeon-toed in your knees. So now we're going to move on to the hand position. It's called the golfer's grip. And you're going to bend at the first knuckle like this with your thumb pointing outward. So it's not a fist. It's more like this. Okay? So we're back in position, hip width apart. And we're going to tighten our thighs. Engage your shoulder blades a little bit. You're going to raise up your arms and you're going to go forward with the arm circles, and you're going to feel your body's kind of moving a little bit, and that's totally fine because we're stabilizing through our hips. Notice that I'm nice upright. If you find you're leaning forward, pull yourself up. If you find your hips are going forward, pull them under. So we want to be nice and stacked and loaded. If something is hurting, don't continue with the exercise. If your shoulder is bothering you, you might need to lower your arms. After about 40, we're going to lower back down and we're going to go to the backwards direction. So back to our golfer's grip, thumbs pointing out, arms down, flip your palms over now. And again, I'm checking my feet, parallel and hip width. I'm tightening my thighs, engage my shoulder blades, come up and go backwards. Again, think about chin is level to the ground, relax your abdominals, and you let the kind of movement through your body happen, and you are, the circles are about a 6-inch diameter, like a dinner plate around, and you keep going and finish up to your second set of 20 going backwards. Okay, moving on. Second exercise in Condition 3 menu is cats and dogs. Again, you might have seen this as cat-cow, but we call it cats and dogs. Okay, so shoulders directly over wrists, hips directly over knees. And when it comes to your inner elbow, some people will be a little bit more hyperextended and their arms kind of poke around. If you are unsure of how to keep your arms, keep the inner crease of the elbows facing each other. That would be more of a neutral position. So now with this exercise, you are going to initiate it through your pelvis as you drop your pelvis down. Then you're going to let your shoulder blades come together or draw them together, and your head comes up. Then you're going to round everything like a big C and go that way. Now my pelvis goes and drops again, and my elbows stay straight, and my shoulder blades draw together, my head comes up. And again, initiate through the pelvis. So this is only 10 times. And again, since we're doing a condition 3, you might find this dropping forward a little bit more difficult to find, and also might be hard for you to draw your elbows back and keep your elbows straight, but that's what you want to be aiming for. And so those are some sensations you will be feeling. And we will do about 10. And then we will move on. We are going to do towel static back, but that is actually now called hook lying towel settles. So just to give you an idea with equipment, we have these nice little rolls, and this is even nicer because this is a neck one and this is the low back one. But I'm going to show you how you can do this at home. Grab a few towels. Sometimes you'll need 2 to 4 depending on your towels, and you're going to roll them up like this to create your own roll. And this is about 3 inches in diameter. In the book it talks about 7 inches, but again, some of the changes that have been made, this seems to be a good size for many people. And if you need it to be a little bit thicker, you can add another towel and just leave a little bit hanging and lie flat, so you don't make it too big, because you don't want to cause any pain. You don't want the roll to be too big or too uncomfortable. So as always, no pain. So what we do is we're going to place the rolls underneath our back, and in the low back it's going to be the level of where your belly button is, and then this one is under your neck. And then you would put your arms out to the side, about 45 degrees away from the body, palms up, and we are letting gravity act upon us and work on us. In terms of your legs, you just want to keep them that hip width apart. In other videos I've talked about we can put our feet together, walk out the heels, walk out the feet, and now you're about hip width. And remember, center of the hip width down is really where we want to be, not wide like our hips. And so that's just the positioning. So you're just mindful of your legs, that they're not stabilizing together or falling out. So you keep them in the middle. And what this is doing is helping to reestablish the curves in our spine. With condition 3, your pelvis is tucked under. So the towel rolls are helping to reestablish the natural curves of your spine. And you stay in this position. In the book it talks about 3 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a nice average place to go, but it does say you could stay here longer. However, we're going to continue on with a few more exercises in this position, so you will be on the towels for quite a few minutes. And again, at any point you're having pain, take the towels out. You can also make it a little bit smaller to start if you need to help be comfortable. Towel knee pillow squeezes. So you're going to need a yoga block or just a bed pillow, and you can fold it in half, or a small couch pillow. And you're going to put it between your knees, and you're back in the same position. We still have our towel rolls, hands are palms up. So you're going to be squeezing the block and releasing. We're going to do 3 sets of 10 would be your starting amount. You can build to 5 sets of 15. And so I'm squeezing and releasing. And you want to be mindful that you're not contracting in your abdominals
or out here in your outer hip. So this is just about the inner thighs. And when you do this, you might notice a difference between your inner thighs, and that one wants to squeeze a little quicker or harder than the other side. And hopefully as you do the repetitions, you will find that becoming more balanced. So we're retraining our inner thigh muscles. They are meant to be stabilizing muscles, and a lot of times they are taking over for other muscles when we walk. And so this helps to kind of re-educate them and balance them. And so you would finish your 3 sets of 10, and then we are going to move on. Gluteal contractions. So we continue on in this towel position with our towels and our hook lying position, our arms out to the side, palms up, and we are going to begin with glute squeezes right here. And this is 3 sets of 10 to start and building up to 5 sets of 15. Now, I am going to begin my squeezing. And what's interesting about this, if you are having troubles finding just your glutes, that's a telltale sign of a condition 3 person, that you're really not using your glutes quite the way they need to be used. So it's not surprising if you can't quite find them. Some people will try and lift. We don't want to lift in order to do that. We just want to squeeze. And you, again, this is another one where you might notice one side engaging a little bit better than the other. And again, as we go, hopefully that starts to even out those sensations, or the more times you do the exercises. And you're trying to just relax through your abdominals, upper body's relaxed, the rest of the legs are relaxed. And we will move on. Next up is isolated hip flexor lifts. So again, we are going to continue on in this position on our back with our 2 towel rolls, and our arms are out to the side, about 45 degrees away from the body, palms up. And we are going to be lifting a leg about 6 to 8 inches off the floor and putting it back down. We can do 3 sets of 5 on each leg, and then you can build up to 3 sets of 20 on each leg. And what you want to be feeling, what you will feel, is right in the front of the hip. You may feel a little bit in your back as it's all connected in here. I'm going to go ahead and switch my sides. And again, everything's staying nice in line. You want your ankle, knee, and hip all in a nice line. Be mindful that you're not tipping out with your knees or in with your knees. Again, not lifting too high. So when we do this, it's not a real high lift. It's just smaller working here. So we want to use more of our hips, of the front of our hip than the abdominals. And so that's part of the reason for the smaller lift, which keeps it more at the hip than the abdominals. And this is such an important exercise in today's world of all the sitting, because we feel like we are tight in this area, but at the same time, sometimes the muscles here aren't quite working right because they've been stuck in a sitting position for so long, and they're kind of short and not necessarily very active. So this is kind of just wakes them back up and reminds them of some of the things that they need to do. And then the opposite leg is doing a little bit of stabilizing while we hold that leg down. So you will feel work on both sides as you do this, just different. A little bit more stabilizing, and then the moving leg is going to be the front of the hip. And I'm going to go with one more set. And your foot is in a neutral position as you are moving it back and forth. And just a reminder, as usual, no pain. And again, if you have pain on one side, I wouldn't do it on I would skip the exercise altogether. you want to keep your body more in balance. Next up is towel supine groin stretch. So we will continue with our towels in our same spots under the belly button and under the neck. And then you will bring in a chair or an ottoman, something that you can put your leg on where it's very 90 degrees here, 90 degrees at your knee as well. And if you can't get that right, then just bring in a folded towel or a pillow to help make the level right. And then we're going to put our leg down straight. Now I have a yoga block with a little ankle weight so that my straight leg doesn't fall out to the side. So you can use something like a shoebox and a soup can, whatever you have around the house to create that. And again, chair, ottoman, laundry basket turned over, but you'd really need multiple towels or pillows on that. Okay, so once we're in this position, so what is happening? We're gonna spend several minutes aside, could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes per side. And so what's happening is we are releasing in this position here the hip flexor muscles. And when we sit a lot, we so need to open this area up because it stays so tight. Now the rolls help encourage the muscle into its more proper alignment, because when your pelvis is tucked under, it's not quite in the right length, what we call length tension. So this will help reposition that. So in addition, so if you want to check how this is working on this leg, you're going to tighten your thigh a little bit at the beginning just to check it, and then let it go. And you're going to kind of see where your thigh muscles were contracting. In the beginning, typically it's closer to the knee, and we're going to stay here for some time, and afterwards we're going to then check, do we get a contraction higher up on the leg? But in the meantime, just to go over some of the other details, the arms are about 45 degrees away from the body, palms up, and this leg is just relaxed, so everything is relaxed. If you feel like your butt is lifting in some way, then you need to modify and change something. You shouldn't be tense, you should be able to relax into this. Why we always have our arms out like this is gravity is acting across our chest. It's helping open up our chest, so in case our body is twisted, it helps release some muscles and take out that rotation. And not only that, if we have rounded shoulders or kind of a bend in our upper trunk area, gravity's acting upon us and just letting everything open up there. So we get a lot of postural benefit from being in this position from head to toe. And another thing that's happening is we have our ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, and ear all in alignment, and we're kind of letting the body relax and settle there with that good alignment. And again, we do this on one side, and then we will match it and do it on the other side as well. You don't want to just do one side unless for some reason you had a therapist or instructor tell you to do that. And so I'm going to do a little check on my quad, and I do feel like I'm getting a little bit better of a tightening a little bit higher up as I've been here. Most likely you'll need to pause the video so that you can continue on. We're going to do a little bit of both sides, but totally pause the video so that you can get the most out of this exercise. It can be really powerful in changing some things about your posture and help you relieve some discomfort you may have been having. But just always as a reminder, not to do this exercise if it is causing pain, not to do any of these if it's causing pain or increasing pain. Okay, so we are going to switch sides, and so I am going to slide this over, and I will have it like that, and then I will move my block and my weight, and then I'm going to get back into position. Be mindful of how you're getting yourself in. If that bothers you, you may need to roll onto your side. And I'm back onto the other side, whoops, yoga block, and wait, we're way too far away. This does take a moment to get into, and I am set. And so we will continue on with this side. So again, I would do my thigh check, and I want to see where am I feeling the muscle tightening in my front of my thigh. And it is interesting how this works, where it's releasing in the front and it's allowing the quadricep muscles, the front of thigh muscles, to re-engage better. And that way when we're walking, they can activate in a more natural way. And again, palms are up, and we're nice and relaxed through our upper chest. And another thing to add in here is breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So when you do that, you're going to inhale, and you may have heard with diaphragmatic breathing and really letting your abdominal increase, but I want you to think about breathing all through the center of your body, like thinking of it like a canister. And you're going to inhale and you're filling up the air, and then exhaling it out. And this added breathing, when you're in any of these positions where you're just lying and allowing gravity and the body to do its work, the breathing will add to it. And like that, inhale all around and then exhale. So this added bonus will help your back muscles release, and just a better working in the abdominal muscles, the diaphragm muscles, everything working together better. So, and just a reminder that we are matching sides. And so I'm going to do that check on this left leg for me. And I am starting to feel the contraction move more up my thigh. So for me, I probably could stay here longer on both sides, maybe a few minutes more longer for each one, in order to get my contraction up a little higher. So again, you're pausing the video so that you can do the amount that you need. And again, the more you do this particular exercise, the quicker your body will relax into this position, as well as your thigh muscles engaging quicker.
We are moving on to foot circles, point flexes. So you're going to lie on your back, and legs are hip width apart to start. And again, just a reminder, hip width is center of the hip, not the outside of the hip. And you will be bringing one knee to your chest like this. Hands are going to go underneath, and the down leg's job is kneecap to the ceiling. So we don't want it rolling out to the side. We want it staying stable with the kneecap pointing in the ceiling. Then we want this shin to be parallel to the ground. So we don't want it up here. We don't want it down low. There. Now you may find it creeping on you, but that's what we're aiming for. So we're going to start with 20 repetitions with our foot circles. We'll go out, in, and then point flex. So 20 of each of those, and then you can build those to 40. So we are going to begin with foot circles going out. And when you do these, you are trying to recruit all of the muscles in the foot and the ankle, and you're really trying to pull the toes around. And you may find there's a sticky spot where you don't quite have the movement, and you want to kind of take a second to bring that all in. It is very common to have tired feet if you are condition 3. The feet are really just not quite getting to fully engage when we walk. So this is going to wake up the muscles in the ankle and the foot. And so you will find this kind of fatiguing and tiring, but it's also kind of invigorating with your feet. So we're going to now go inside circles. And I am being mindful that my left leg, my down leg, the knee is staying on the ceiling. And again, I'm trying to really reach around using all of my foot as I do this.
being mindful that I'm not rounding my shoulders up off the ground. And a bonus is that the front of the hip is working. So if you feel some tiredness in the front of your hip, that is normal. That's all part of this. We're waking that muscle up in, again, sometimes it's just short and tight or too long and not really well activating. So we are waking that up, and now we're going to move on to point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex, drawing your foot towards you, pushing it away. Back and forth. Back and forth. And we will finish this up. Again, you are going to build, so you can always pause once you are doing this to increase your repetitions. Okay, I'm going to put this leg down, my right leg. Kneecap is going to stay to the ceiling. I'm going to grab under my left knee, pull it in. I'm going to be mindful of what's happening here. Relax my shoulders back. And then I'm going to begin my foot circles going out. I don't know if you heard it, but my left ankle clicked a little bit as I started. This is very common, I have found, with people. A lot of times the muscles just need to engage more. And for me, based on my posture, that happens with my left ankle, but the more I do it, the less it happens, where before it would happen a lot through the whole exercise. And I'm going out circles for about 20. Again, we're building to that 40 as you go, watching what this kneecap is doing, that it's pointed up towards the ceiling. And now I'm going to go inside circles. I'm trying to recruit all the muscles in my ankle and my foot. It's so easy to try and just do a quick circle or a smaller circle, but really try and reach around, get the most out of the exercise. These exercises are all about the details. The more you do the details, the more you're going to get out of the exercises, or what we might call them E-sizes, because from Pete Egoscue's name. And so then we're going to go point and flex, point and flex. And again, really trying to reach both directions, watching my down kneecap is on the ceiling. And we have a little bit more to go. And that is it.
Next up is under air bench. And this one, in order to do it safely, you want to either be on a yoga mat with bare feet, or you want to have nice sneakers on. Just be mindful of the floor you're on. Carpet is nice and likely you won't slide. When you're getting out of the exercise, you can use your hands to push off of the wall. So I have a timer. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. This one is 1 to 3 minutes, and if you can only do 20 or 30 seconds, that's still okay. Great place to start. So I'm going to walk myself down the wall, and the key here is that I want my knee above my ankle, not my toes. So I don't want to be further forward like that. I want my feet much more in front of my knees. Now you're going to have your arms out to the side, and you're pressing your whole back into the wall. And so the idea here is to have the work kind of between your hip and your shoulders. Of course, your legs are feeling it as well. And we hold here and make sure your knees are not collapsing in or out like that. They're nice and in line. And then another thing is if you have knee pain, you want to make sure that you can raise yourself up a little bit so that it does not hurt. I'm going to go ahead and push out of the exercise, and you can walk around for a moment afterwards. Great exercise. Make sure you're breathing while you're in it, and we will move on. Next up is standing quadricep stretch. So I'm going to show you some modifications that you can do. You do want to be, I'm going to use a wall for my hand support. You could be at a kitchen counter or a high back chair to do this exercise also. So different levels could be the first one. And then if I wanted more of a stretch, I have this where I could build it up. And then if you are really flexible or tall, it really depends on your height as well, then you can go up to a back of a chair. You can even put a little towel right here to make this more comfortable. Now, the middle one is much better for me, so I'm gonna go back to that. I wanna show you that when the knees are bent like this, I don't want your knees together like that. I want them in line. So we wanna be mindful that it's not out to the side or out to the front. So those are the keys to this. So I'm using the wall, and I want you to think about having your weight still through both legs, not pushed off to the down leg. And that's what the support is for, so you can do that. Now here's another little detail is on the down leg, if your leg is kicking out like this, we don't want that. We want that muscle waking up, engage here so that you are level. Again, going back. I'm going to then tuck under, and now we are actually in the proper form of the exercise. I'm gonna relax here, chin level to the ground. I'm also making sure that my foot is straight. So lots of details on this one to pay attention to. But when you tuck under like this, it's going to increase the stretch all through the front of your leg. So we are working on some stabilizing on the down leg, and we're working on the re-engagement of the quads by putting it in a better position. And then I am going to put this leg down, check my feet parallel and hip width, and then I will go to the other side. Again, be mindful of the level for you. If you pick the wrong level, then you aren't going to be able to get your knees in the proper position. So I've now tucked under. I want to make sure this hip is kicking in now. I'm trying to be level with my weight on both legs and using the wall to help keep my balance with that, and feeling it through the front of the leg. Mindful about my upper shoulders, relaxing them down, eyes looking forward, chin level to the ground. And this down leg is definitely engaging and working to hold us up. And we finish with that 45 seconds to a minute. Okay, so we have just gone over the Condition 3 menu from the Egoscue Method of Health through Motion. So hopefully you got a chance to try all the exercises, but if any of them didn't work for you or caused you pain, you should definitely not do them. It's okay when doing these exercises to feel muscles working or a little bit of cramping, but not pain. And so just to reiterate, the Condition 3 body type is the pelvis is tucked under, a flattening through the low back, and kind of a rounded, drooping shoulders. So we need to kind of wake up a lot of muscles in this type of posture. So hopefully you felt that when doing this. You can do this one regularly. There's also Condition 1 and Condition 2. Typically if you're a Condition 3, you wouldn't need the Condition 1, but sometimes people are a mix of a Condition 2 and a Condition 3. Again, these menus are designed to do completely through. Otherwise, you can get your own personalized individual method through a therapist like myself, where it's targeted to your posture specifically. Check out my website, and if you have any questions, message me. Thank you.